very briefly say why she supports this project, and Alice Ferguson to follow. Karen.
When I first heard about Playing Out, I was hugely impressed, and I wanted to sponsor it. The reason being that at its heart there's a really brilliant idea, and that idea is actually very simple, very practical, very grassroots idea, but I think it has huge potential to change the way that we live. If you go back over time, there was a time when communities, to a much greater extent than the way they do now, really owned their own streets, owned the space in their own streets. And when those streets were much more about people meeting each other and children playing. And this project, I think, does really offer a chance to start to win back some of that freedom, and particularly for children to win back space to play. So I'm really, really pleased to be introducing to you Alice Ferguson from Playing Out.
Actually, I'm going to risk using the podium, even though I might look like a short person. So thank you very much, Kerry, for that introduction. It's very kind. So I'd like to start by just giving you a bit of background to the Playing Out project. This is our website. So a couple of years ago, I got together with a neighbour to start thinking about how we could make our street a better, safer place for our children, other children locally, to play out. And we came up with this really simple idea to just close the road to through traffic after school for a couple of hours, still allowing residents access. We have stewards on either end of the street. And it was a real success. People responded really well to it. So we went on to help residents on 5 other streets locally to do the same thing. And then this year we've been giving workshops all around Bristol. And we've developed a website, and we've made a film and put it on the website, and it's had a lot of really positive response. The idea is now starting to take a life of its own in Bristol, and we want to now try bringing it to another city as a start to hopefully spreading it nationally. So really excited to have this potential opportunity in Oxford. If you just think for a moment about your own childhood, and most people here, and myself included, are of a certain age, some young people who might not remember, but it's likely that you had a degree of freedom to play out on an everyday basis around where you lived, to make friends, to just roam and to be outdoors and active quite a lot of the time. And this situation has changed fairly drastically in just one generation, so that more often than not, children are inside after school, or they're in very specific activities. If they're lucky, they might get taken to a fenced-in play space to have a bit of run around. But this doesn't compensate for the benefits of being able to just play out naturally on your street. So this is a fairly typical residential street. This is actually my street in Bristol. And the first thing that we notice about it is lots of parked cars. So the increase in car ownership is one of the big reasons why this situation has changed so much. But the other thing that you notice is a big empty space there. And especially during the daytime, a lot of residential streets look like this. There isn't a lot of through traffic. It's just a big wasted space in the middle of the city where children really desperately need access to play space. So the Playing Out project is about making good use of this currently underused resource. So what is Playing Out? The model is just closing the road for short periods after school to sort of both physically and psychologically reclaim the space for play. It's been tried and tested, and it's a very simple idea, but actually has quite a big long-term impact on the way that people think and feel about their streets. So rather than looking like this, the street can look like this, and it's easy. Some of the immediate benefits we've seen from this project are children getting a good run around after school, 2 hours of physical activity, but also we've seen lots of other ways of playing creative, kind of solitary play, and children have made lasting friendships as a result of these sessions. And we've also seen different generations playing together. And it's a chance for parents to get together and talk about some of these issues and start to sort of look at how they can overcome them. And older residents, and this lady's not very old, but we've had older residents come out, and it's just a nice excuse for them to come out in the street and interact with their neighbours. So overall, there are immediate short-term benefits, but there's also a sort of deeper potential for this project to really change, to bring about a change of culture. And just by a very simple way of redressing the balance between cars and people, it demonstrates that streets can be ideal places for children to play. And as well as the immediate benefits, playing in the street lets children feel a sense of belonging in their community, a sense of ownership over their immediate environment, and everyone benefits from streets that are safer and friendlier and full of life. So Oxford is the ideal place, we feel, to start moving this project out of Bristol to another city. You've already got a really good tradition of community activity, you've got supportive local authority, you've got 20-mile-an-hour limits on lots of streets, that's a brilliant start. And we've already made contacts with local organisations, Oxfordshire Play Association and Oxford Streets for People, the two of them, and they're both keen to see this project take off here, and particularly in the more deprived neighbourhoods where children don't have that many other options for play. Part of what the beauty of this idea is it's very cheap to run. Once it's up and running, residents just do it, and it doesn't actually cost barely anything. But we have found that our time just... Okay.
Thanks, I told you we were...
Takes longer once you're up here.
Well, we now have 6 minutes in which one of you could actually ask Alice what it was she was going to say.